What does Aliyah Boston really think of Caitlin Clark? In a brand new interview on Sue Bird's Bird's Eye View podcast, Boston opens up like never before, from her first reaction to Caitlin in college, to being teammates on the Indiana Fever, to how their relationship has grown, and even how she handled Clark's injury. She also spills some juicy locker room revelations that's turning heads. This isn't just a feel-good chat. It's raw, real, and surprisingly hilarious. Remember when Sheryl Swoopes said this? Well, Aliyah Boston just delivered the biggest in-your-face moment to Swoopes that just put her in her place. When Caitlin Clark first arrived in Indiana, no one was more curious, or more honest, than Aliyah Boston. The two had faced off in one of the most memorable Final Four matchups in recent memory, and Aliyah didn't forget what Caitlin did that night. In fact, she admits she had to confront it head-on, because dropping 40 on someone's head isn't exactly something you just ignore when you become teammates. But instead of tension, what came out was something unexpectedly funny, real, and refreshing. Aliyah's take on that moment reveals just how grounded she is, and how quickly she was able to shift from competitor to collaborator. The mutual respect between the two, it was instant. And that bond would only grow stronger once they hit the floor together. As the season unfolded, their chemistry became impossible to ignore. Aliyah shared what makes their connection click, and it goes way beyond the box score. It's about trust, intuition, and knowing when to roll, cut, or seal without ever needing to call for the ball. I think honestly, one, like Caitlin, the attention she gets, right, like teams are like up, like if they're under and dropped, that shot's going up, cause I'm gonna set a good screen, that shot's going up, and she's getting it. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm gonna step up, and she's just a phenomenal passer, like her angles, like, she knows exactly where to get it. Caitlin's passing vision, Aliyah's positioning, and their ability to read each other in real time has made them one of the most electric duos to watch. And when Aliyah explains how she literally watches Caitlin's eyes to decide her next move, you realize this isn't just talent. It's a basketball IQ level that's only going to keep rising. The way she sees the floor, I think, is great, and then for me, it's always like, I'm always going to get in her pocket, because I know that she's looking to pass that ball, and she wants to get us in the best position, and so for me, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking at your eyes. So once I see your eyes, I'm there. You don't have to say anything, I'm going. When Caitlin Clark joined the Fever, it didn't just change the roster, it changed the spotlight. Suddenly, every play was under a magnifying glass, and the pressure was sky high. Aliyah Boston opened up about the whirlwind those first few weeks were, with a new offensive rhythm, unfamiliar dynamics, and the world expecting instant results. Instead of time to gel, they were treated like a super team failing out the gate. The media frenzy didn't help. Every missed connection became a conspiracy. Strangers online dissected body language like it was game tape. For Aliyah, it reached a breaking point. She already puts enough pressure on herself. The last thing she needed was trolls questioning her chemistry with a teammate she was still getting to know. So she logged off. Well, a lot of it too can be people that are trolling, a lot of people are talking, but for me it's like, I am someone that already puts so much pressure on myself, and so for you to come in and tell me like, dang, you're like the worst host I've ever seen in my life, it's like, you know what, get me out, I'm gonna leave. But Aliyah never blamed Caitlin, quite the opposite. She praised her for elevating the league, welcoming the spotlight and new fans. What she pushed back on was the unrealistic expectation that two young stars would click instantly. That's not how real chemistry works, and now that they've had time to grow together, the results speak for themselves. But then came the drama, or at least the internet's version of it. Suddenly there were whispers about the locker room, rumors of beef, bad blood, silent treatment. Fans and media decided they had it all figured out. Meanwhile, Aliyah was literally just waking up from a nap. That's right. She logs on, sees the chaos, and all she could do was laugh with her teammates and say, "Y'all good?" That's how real the so-called tension was. Aliyah makes it clear. Whatever stories were spinning out there were nothing more than noise. The truth? This team was locked in, unified, and focused on one thing: winning. The Fever didn't just protect the locker room, they protected each other. While the outside world ran wild with narratives, the players stayed quiet and let their chemistry do the talking on the court. I hate when people get into this whole talking about what they think our locker room is like and what they think. I'm like, first of all, you're not in here. Now, so you have no idea here. And also, we're professionals. So we want you to see something. You'll happily see it. If we don't, I guarantee you, you would never know there's a single problem. Why? Because that's none of your business, and we have more priorities, and that's winning. So to all the internet detectives and couch coaches who thought they cracked the case, maybe next time. Sit this one out. Because what's actually brewing in Indiana isn't drama. It's a problem for every other team in the league. The Fever's return to the playoffs in 2024 was short, but for Aliyah Boston, it was anything but meaningless. She recalls the series against Connecticut with a mix of pride and frustration. They were this close. Game 1 got away from them, but Game 2, they were right there. It wasn't talent that separated the two teams, it was experience. Connecticut's veterans knew how to manage playoff intensity, when to strike, and how to close. That, Aliyah says, was the real lesson. What stuck with her most wasn't just the loss, but the feeling that if they had pushed it to a third game back in Indiana, the Fever could have taken it. That belief, that they were almost there, lit a fire. It's one thing to make the playoffs, it's another to leave feeling like you didn't get your shot. And that's what fuels this new chapter. The game, because honestly I think if we had brought back to Indy, we were gonna get it. No, we were, because we had just beat them at home. So, it's someone else that's like, dang, if we could have just got us that third game, I think we really would have came out and just went bananas. But I think it was a great experience for us, and obviously like this year now too, we're like, listen, now in her third season, Aliyah says the mindset has flipped. No more sneaking up on people. No more underdog narratives. With the off-season additions, new coaching staff, and the Caitlin Clark spotlight, the Fever are now expected to win. That brings pressure, but also purpose. Every team is gunning for them, but Aliyah says they wouldn't have it any other way. She's clear-eyed about what it takes. Chemistry, consistency, and a refusal to make excuses. Injuries, lineup changes, outside noise. It's all part of the game. But this season, the Fever aren't just showing up to compete, they're coming to dominate. And according to Aliyah, once they figure things out completely, it's going to get scary for everyone else. We always think like, you have to approach every season with like, we're winning this whole season. So that was our mindset. And I think when you look at expectations, once again, expectations come from everyone outside. Because like, in our circle, we know exactly what we're going to do. We also understand that it's a process. We're saying that new faces, new coaches, like different style play for people joining us. It's like people need time to figure it out once again. But when you do figure it out, it's going to be scary. After the 2025 season didn't exactly follow the Fever's dream script. What started with soaring expectations quickly met reality. And that reality hit hard with a wave of injuries, most notably to Caitlin Clark. For a young team still building its identity, losing such a central figure mid-season could have unraveled everything. But according to Aliyah Boston, this team doesn't flinch. It's definitely been a struggle, but I think just at the start of the season too, like, you have your start of season meetings and you're talking, and for us it was about, listen, like no matter what happens in the season, it's next woman up. And you have to be ready. And I feel like obviously struggling with injuries, and then, you side people, and then they leave, and it's like, listen, like whoever is next, be ready to play, because it doesn't matter. Like the games still keep coming, like you still have to be ready to compete. She explains that from day one of the season, the message was clear. Next woman up. Injuries are inevitable, but excuses aren't. Whether it's a starter or a role player, everyone's expected to be ready to step in and contribute. That mindset, she says, has been the backbone of their ability to keep competing night in and night out, even with key pieces missing. If still, losing Caitlin Clark wasn't just losing a playmaker, it shifted the entire flow of their offense. Aliyah talked about how different it feels playing with and without Caitlin on the floor. When she's out there, you're always on alert. The ball moves faster, the tempo spikes, and defenses stretch further. Aliyah said it best. When Caitlin's playing, be ready to run. Without her, the game slows down. The Fever pivot to more half-court execution, working through multiple options and forcing teams to defend deeper into the shot clock. It's not better or worse, just different. And learning to thrive in both systems has made the Fever more adaptable. Aliyah credits this flexibility as one of their biggest strengths in an otherwise rocky season. When she's on the floor, like she's looking to get up, people can be like, listen, I don't need to outlet, because I know once a rebound we're getting it up. But I also think it, once again, it's like, puts people on their toes, because they're like, whoa, I need to find Kelsey in transition. I need to find Ari now. Like, we gotta find Sophie and Lexi knocking out threes. Like, it's different, but I think everyone is once again finding their own rhythm, and that we just did a great job of like putting it all together. But let's be clear. Clark's absence hasn't been easy emotionally either. Aliyah acknowledged how tough it is seeing a teammate go down, especially someone as competitive and invested as Caitlin. But she also knows Caitlin will be back. and that gives them even more motivation to keep fighting. Every win they scrap together now is one step closer to being playoff ready when she returns. What's helped them weather this storm? Veteran leadership. Aliyah was quick to point out how players like Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and especially Sydney Colson have become the glue. Whether it's calming nerves, setting the tone, or cracking the right joke at the right time, these vets have been instrumental in keeping the locker room focused and upbeat. No, seriously, I think it's been great. Seriously, it's been a blessing for me. It's crazy. We were just talking to our Sid about this on the plane ride over here. And I was like, listen, like, it's great to have you guys because, like, we're young players, and like sometimes we still have that mindset of like, oh my gosh, I need to be perfect. Like, I need to, and having vets like Tosh and Sid, like, honestly, like, I know everyone thinks Sid, like, the comedic person, like, so funny, but I think getting to know Sid and who she is, she's like the best person for any locker room and for our locker room. Like, Aliyah even shared a story about Sydney Colson, often seen as the team's comedic spirit, showing a whole other side behind the scenes. She knows when to speak up, how to pull someone aside, and what to say to get their mindset right. That kind of leadership, Aliyah says, can't be taught. It's felt. And in a season full of chaos, it's been everything. So while 2025 may have started as a challenge, the Fever have turned it into a crash course in resilience. They're learning to win ugly, to adapt, to trust each other under pressure. And with every injury and every adjustment, they're building something stronger. Because once this team is healthy and whole again, that early season adversity might just be the best thing that ever happened to them. Now, here we are. The Fever locked in a battle with the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA semifinals, and every game feels like a dogfight. The series is shifting back to Indiana, and the energy is razor sharp. What makes this moment even more stunning? Indiana's doing this while battling through injuries to 6 key players. The odds seem stacked against them, but rather than folding, they've leaned into the chaos. And Aliyah Boston, in the words of head coach Stephanie White, she's been the team's rock, walking that line between fierce competitor and emotional anchor, showing the league what happens when a team refuses to let adversity define them. As this series returns to Indiana, they're not just fighting for the win, they're fighting for a statement. The Fever may be battered, but they are never beaten. Aliyah Boston didn't just show up this season, she leveled up. Through injuries, media storms, and sky-high expectations, she's remained the anchor of a team that refuses to break. And alongside Caitlin Clark and the rest of the Fever, they've turned doubt into fuel and adversity into identity. The Indiana Fever are here, they're for real, and they're not done yet. So, if you've been sleeping on them, now's the time to wake up. Because the best is still to come.